All right, let's go to my explainer tonight. So we now have the two chambers of Parliament in place following the swearing in of MPs and election of the speakers in respective houses. Now, the two houses, after the sitting that happens tonight, will adjourn to wait for President-elect William Ruto to be sworn in on Tuesday, the 13th of September. Now, once he assumes office, he will call for the official opening of Parliament. The President is expected to attend this session, and he will also address the House as per Standing Order number 21-1, which says the President shall address the opening of each newly elected Parliament. It will most likely be a joint address of a sitting of both houses. This is usually a momentous occasion for the President, especially an incoming one, as he gets to outline his government's legislative agenda. That includes the bills he will prioritize to enable implementation of his manifesto, both in the long and in the short term. Now, Standing Order 21-2 states that at the conclusion of the President's address, the sitting shall stand suspended or adjourned until such a time as may be specified by the Speaker. But in the immediate, with the Speaker having been sworn in and the Houses fully constituted, the first order of business is to establish some three critical committees, namely the House Business Committee, the Committee on Selection, and the Committee on Appointments. Let's start with the House Business Committee, which is the backbone of parliamentary operations. This is the committee that decides on business to be transacted in the House for every sitting. And that business includes prioritizing bills, motions, and papers. Now, its membership includes the leadership of the House. That's the Leader of Majority, the Leader of Minority, the Majority and the Minority Whip, as well as 9 other members nominated by parliamentary parties and approved by the House at the commencement of every session. Now, this committee is chaired by the Speaker himself. In the absence of the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker will attend and chair the committee sittings as stated in Standing Order number 171-3. Now, let's take a look at another one. The role and the membership of the Committee on Selection. Now, this one is outlined in Standing Order number 172. The committee's membership comprises the Majority Leader of the House, who also serves as the chairperson. You have the Minority Leader, and you have other members who shall be not less than 11 and not more than 21 in number, and who are nominated by parliamentary parties. Now, this committee is important. It nominates members who will serve in other committees. This, of course, excludes the House Business Committee and the Committee on Appointments, which I will talk about in a moment. Now, this committee's work is important because a majority of parliamentary work is done through committees, such as the Education, Finance, Budget, the Health Committee, the Defense and Foreign Relations, National Security, Roads, and even the Committee on Member Welfare. Now, this year, there are an additional 10 committees. So in total, in Parliament, there will be 43 committees, up from 33 in the 12th Parliament. Now, each member of Parliament must be allocated to at least one committee, and the remaining slots are allocated based on a member's area of strength and competence. This is why, if you remember, during the orientation of MPs, the members were required to submit biodata and an updated CV to aid in allocation to various committees. So, for example, if you are a surveyor, you could end up in the Lands Committee. If you're a lawyer, you could end up in the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. Membership to committees is approved by the plenary. Now, each side, during their PG meeting, will caucus, they will prepare a list to determine who will sit in which committee. They take that to this Committee on Selection. Now, one quick thing to note is that, as per tradition, there are 2 committees that are chaired by the minority side of the House. That is the Parliamentary Accounts Committee and the Parliamentary Investments Committee, that is PAC and PIC. So the minority side would also have their PG meeting, decide who will be the leader of these 2 committees, and then submit those names to this Committee on Selection. Now, the final committee I want to discuss here on the Explainer tonight is the one on appointments. Now, this one vets persons who have been nominated for appointment as cabinet secretaries. It is also chaired by the Speaker himself, and it includes the rest of the House leadership. That's the Deputy Speaker, the Majority Leader and their Deputy, Minority Leader and their Deputy, whips from both sides of the House, that is the Majority and the Minority, and not more than 15 other members nominated by the House Business Committee. Now, this committee runs from the beginning to the end of the term of Parliament, but it only gets to work when there is a vacancy, like there will be next week following the swearing-in of President-elect William Ruto. At that point, all cabinet positions will become vacant. But this committee, however, remains in place in the event that another vacancy arises, and this can happen through resignation, sacking, death, or removal from office as outlined in the Constitution of Kenya. So this is what happens. Once the president nominates his cabinet members, the Committee on Appointments, that's this one, conducts sittings to vet the names before it. They then prepare a report, present that to the whole House for adoption, rejection, or amendments. Now, once these three key committees that we've outlined here have played their part, the official work of both Parliament and the Executive can now begin. That's my Explainer tonight.